everyone. This is P. Induja, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Chemical Engineering, Hindustan College of Engineering and Technology. So in this session, we are going to see about the introduction to chemical engineering. That is an overview of chemical engineering. And the content we are going to see is what is chemical engineering and chemistry and what is chemical engineering? So the difference between the chemistry and chemical engineering and what is the role of chemical engineering in various field and also where do chemical engineers can work. So these are all the topic we are going to discuss in this session. Yeah, what is chemical engineering? So chemical engineering is nothing but we are converting a raw material into uh, a product. Okay. So in the application of engineering principle, that is in chemical industry, to convert a raw material into a variety of products. So variety of products we can say it as also byproducts which we can send it to another industries, and also it deals with the design and operation of plants and equipments to perform such work. So this is known as the chemical engineering. The chemical engineer need to know about the natural science, that is chemistry and physics, that is a basic thing, and life science, that is biology, microbiology and biochemistry, and very important thing is mathematics and economics. So economics for cost estimation and uh, so on. And transformation of one type of chemical to a more useful type of chemical. So that is an energy. So these are the things we have to know in the chemical engineering. The difference between what is chemistry and what is chemical engineering. So chemistry is generally related to discussion of how and when and why a specific reaction can takes place. So how the reaction can takes place, that is the question for in chemistry, and there is an example of structure of PVC. So you can see the structure there in the image. And while chemical engineering is nothing but it is concerned with the use of that reaction in making of some uh, type of products. Like, yeah, so you can see the images like there is by PVC, we will get some useful products. So there is a different 9 useful products by PVC. So this is done by a chemical engineer. So this is the difference between the chemistry and a chemical engineer. So coming to know about what is chemistry. So chemistry is the study of how elements. So these elements are given here like carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, sulfur. These elements comes together in a small molecules, that is tiny molecule, to make the stuff we use every day. So every day we are using a diesel or gasoline or paper or ink or oil. So these are the examples we are taking, and it takes energy to transform basic components into ones that we use daily. For example, so from crude oil we are getting gasoline and diesel fuel, and from trees we are getting paper, and from soybean oil we are getting an ink. So these are all the example of what is chemistry. So we have to do experiments daily or regularly. That's why how we can learn about chemistry. What do you mean by a chemical process? A chemical process is nothing but we are giving a raw material, and the process is done in between, and we will get the finally we will get the useful product. So here you can see a diagram which shows the 3 columns, that is scrubber, absorber and flash drum. So in this three we are giving a raw material, and it is given as a feed to the reactor. That is the RXTR reactor. So from the reactor, we will get some of the reaction and it is sent to the separator, and there is a feed, that is H2 is giving in the reactor also. So we are giving a feed from both sides, that is to reactor. So that is H2 is from one side and another side is from scrubware absorber in flash drum, and we will get the product to the separator. So from the separator, we are removing the water and it is sent to a distillation and also to the scrubber. So from distillation, you will get the distillate and bottom product from the distillation column, and from scrubber you are getting the CO and CO2. So this is the final product. So we are giving a raw material and in between there will be happening a process, that is some reaction is happening, and then you will get the final product. So this is the chemical process. Slide you can see the different reactions, and from the reactions and catalyst you will get the useful products. So the products are given here. So for example, paints, gasoline, mobile phones, and the conditioners. So these are all the examples, and the car which have the fibers, so etc. So how to become a chemical engineer? So chemical engineer, we have to know about the problem solving, and here the engineers are problem solvers actually, and chemical engineers must know about the problem solvers, and that problem can be applied to the more complex problem. So simple problems we can solve, and then it is applicable to the more complex problems. So we are solving today's difficult problems in renewable fuel, it's already growing, and in medical devices also. So this is we have to know in chemical engineering field. So most importantly, mathematics plays a vital role in chemical engineer. So in elementary school or middle school, high school and college, so we will study the mathematics. So in college level, we will study the calculus and differential equations. So and also integration. So these are the important thing as a chemical engineer must know in mathematics. So that's why the mathematics is an important thing in chemical engineer. What do chemical engineers do? Yeah, so we will combine the chemistry, maths, and also physics to operate chemical plants and design chemical process and also research and development. So you can see the diagram here. So there is a raw material. So there is some of the bean is here. So from the bean we are extracting the raw material. From the raw material we are extracting the oil, some of the useful product. So that product is sent to the process, process like separation or distillation. So from that process we will get a useful product like gas. So that is given here. So raw material, and then the process is done, and finally you will get the useful product. So what do chemical engineers make? So chemical engineers will make even food, fuel, plastics, paper, healthcare, and everyday items. So foods like many vegetables, frozen foods, and boxed foods, fuel like gasoline, diesel, motor oil, and brake fuel, fluid, and plastics like garbage bags, toothbrushes, hairbrushes, etc., and paper like paper books, cardboard, toilet papers, etc., and healthcare and instrumentation, diagnostic instrumentation, and also in medicines, and joint replacements like clean water, pumps, filters, and chlorines, etc., and everyday items like pen, pencils, etc. So here in every field, the chemical engineers are there. So we are making every product as an useful product. So this is what the chemical engineers make. So after the process, you can see the products. So we will get the products. So like household products are given here. For example, sugar, sodas, all kinds of sodas, and cosmetics, oil and ghee, textile, leather, and all kinds of acids, and cleaning products, that is detergents and all given here. And yeah, so these are all the examples household products we are using. Chemical engineer also plays a role in pharmaceutical industries. So uses in medical like medicines, tablets, injections, and suspensions. So you can see these are all the thing I have given in the diagram. So in pharmaceuticals also, a chemical engineer plays a major role. So as a chemical engineer, we will work in energy like nuclear power plant and thermal power plant and batteries, dry cells, etc. And also chemical engineers also working in mining and minerals industries like we are working in gold, copper industry, steel industry, diamond industry, coal and charcoal and another minerals. So these are all the examples in mining and minerals. uh, we are making a materials, so that is like material engineering. So we make construction materials or any type of material used to make anything or model like aircraft, submarine, and boat buildings, satellites, etc. So here you can see that steel mills and cement industry, that is these types of materials can work in steel mills and cement industry. And also the major part in oil and gas. So here rig is used to extract crude oil from soil. So there is a rig you can see here in the diagram, last diagram. And 42 gallon per barrel makes about 19 and a half gallons of gasoline. So per barrel of 42 gallons, we will get 19 and a half gallons of gasoline and 9 gallons of fuel oil. So 4 gallons of jet fuel and 11 gallons of other products including lubricant oil, kerosene, asphalt and petrochemical feedstocks to make plastics. So we will play a major role in oil and gas industries also. So if we see a deeper look into the oil and gas, so in oil and gas can be broken down into three sectors. One is upstream and midstream and downstream. Upstreams like exploration and production, midstreams like pipelines and transportation, and finally downstreams like refining of crude oil into fuels and processing of petrochemical feeds to make marketable products. So this is the main thing. So three sectors. So we will see one by one. Upstream, so that is exploration and production. So here drilling and pumping of crude oil is taken here. So we are pumping a crude with the help of the drilling machine. So involving with the extraction of crude oil and natural gas from the earth to the surface. Here you can see the picture that shows the drilling of crude oil from the lake. So these are all the upstream. And coming to the midstream, there is a pipeline and transportation. So crude is transported through the pipeline. So here the transport of raw extracted petroleum products from drilling site to downstream processing unit. So in previous we have seen that upstream. So upstream is drilling of crude oil from the lake. So that is upstream, and midstream is we are transporting the drilled crude oil in the for various process units. So a lot of work in logistics of transporting this raw material, and purification of some feed streams is also handled at this stage. So we are purifying while transporting itself, and think of as a chemical plant which feeds other chemical plants. So this is the downstream. And midstream, you can see the transportation. So the drilling, after drilling the crude oil, you can see the different transportation methods that is given in the image. And yeah, so by using the truck and by using the pipeline, the natural gas products and all, by using the pipelines, we are transferring it to the gas processing industries. And finally it is given to the storage tank, and crude oils and all, uh, transporting it to the large industries is large transportation methods, like yeah, and by using the truck and the shipping method, and there you can see the storage process is done in the midstream process, that is in crude transport method. So finally, we are giving the product into the storage. So this is midstream process, and finally, downstream processes. Finally, the refining, that is downstream process. So in downstream process, we are refining a crude oil into the product. So that is refining is the process of crude oil into products such as motor gasoline, kerosene, asphalt, diesel fuel, coke fines, and other organic molecules. So you can see the distillation column here, and from the distillation column, we will get the different types of products. So the kerosene, diesel, asphalt and all we will get as the product. So this is the downstream process, refining process. So three streams, one is upstream, midstream and downstream. So upstream is nothing but we are drilling the crude oil, and midstream is nothing but the crude transportation and pipeline methods, and third one downstream is refining of crude oil. So in downstream process, we will see the refinery process. So you can see the distillation column, and different temperature we will get the product. So we can see that 20 degrees Celsius we will get this gases, and 70 degrees Celsius that is naphtha, and 120 degrees Celsius petrol, and 170 degrees Celsius kerosene, and etc. So you will get the useful products like LPG gas, and some of the chemicals, gasolines, jet fuels, drain fuels, waxes and polishes, ships and factories, and roadways, that is like bitumens, etc., lubricating oil. So this is the refinery process, that is from midstream process. And chemical engineers are also have a major role in fertilizer industries, like organic fertilizer, and so there is a different types of fertilizers are there. One is organic fertilizer, nitrogen fertilizer, potassium fertilizer, and phosphorus fertilizer. So the chemical engineers also works in the fertilizer field. Application areas of chemical engineers. So we are works under major roles, that is petrochemical industries and pollution controls, fine chemicals and pharmaceutical industries, fertilizer industries, and agrochemicals and pesticides, natural extracts processing, food processing industries, plastics and polymer industries, cosmetics industries, dyes and detergent industries, waste treatment and recycles. So we are major applications are given here for chemical engineers. So Chem e-works, that is we are working in many field in e-works, that is electrical works. So that is high purity solvents and water treatment plant, nuclear energy and food production, environmental engineering, and advanced material. So here are all the field the chemical engineers can work. Engineers mostly chooses oil and petrochemical industries, that is including exploration and specialty chemicals and pharmaceutical industries, and like food and consumer goods, utilities and environment, and engineering consultancy and manufacturing, finance and management consultancy, and other works, and some of them will go for an higher education. So these are all the uh, working percentage of chemical engineers. So I hope you can all understand about what is chemical engineer and the difference between the chemistry and chemical engineers, and what are all the chemical process, and what are the application areas of chemical engineer, and also chemical engineers can work in e-works. So I hope you understand all of those, the overview of chemical engineers. Thank you.